God says, the decree of restoration for the lost years. Receive your provision today. Your provision was signed. Your name has just been mentioned in a decree of absolute restitution. Stop looking for answers in the past, because your provision has already been signed on high. This video is the breaking point between your exhaustion and your reward. What time silently stole from you, heaven returns to you today in abundance. Stay until the end, because you're going to understand exactly how to claim what is yours by divine right. This is not a coincidence. This is your moment of justice. Listen carefully. Heaven has broken its silence about your situation. The time is over for watching others move forward, while you feel like you're walking in circles in the same desert. Today, I'm not here to offer you pleasantries. I'm here to deliver an official notification from the kingdom. Your probationary period has ended. Write down right now. My spiritual debt is paid, and feel the weight lift from your shoulders. As your brother in faith, I pause for a moment to tell you that your weariness has not gone unnoticed by God. I know what it is like to carry a seemingly endless responsibility, and that is why I share in your joy, because I know that this message is the key that will open doors for you. This process is exclusively for you, so that you may see that your faithfulness has generated a heavenly interest that is now manifesting in your life. Have you ever felt frustrated watching your best years slip away without seeing the fruits of your labor? That feeling of having your time stolen isn't just your imagination. It's a spiritual reality that is being reversed today. Pay close attention, because the compensation that is coming is not proportional to what you lost. It's massive. God is not only giving you back the lost year, but He is also bestowing upon you maturity and abundance of a whole life in a single instant of grace. Keep your eyes on this, because what follows is the core of your liberation. When you hear that 40 years will be restored, heaven is telling you that the speed of your results will be supernatural from now on. It won't take another 40 years to build your peace or stability. What's coming is an acceleration of opportunities that will leave you breathless. For long periods, your identity was defined by resistance. You grew accustomed to enduring, to suffering in silence, and to being everyone else's support while your own progress was blocked by invisible walls. Don't move from here, because that blockage has just been demolished. Provision, understood as a flow of solutions and resources you need to live with dignity and purpose, is already on its way to you. Why you? Why now? Because your obedience in the darkness is worth more than the worship of many in the light. This is the payment for your loyalty when no one was watching. Your reward is not a suggestion. It is a decree signed with heavenly authority that no one can revoke. Declare with authority in the comments. Today I claim my heavenly inheritance and prepare for what's next. Have you ever stopped to think that heaven uses a different dictionary than we do? While you counted the days as wasted time, up above they were recorded as repositories of wisdom. You walked through fire wondering if anyone noticed your effort, and today the answer comes with celestial certainty. Nothing has been wasted. It deeply moves me to know that you maintained your integrity when no one was watching, and when God's silence seemed eternal. I share this feeling of respect for your journey, because I know that your resilience isn't a lack of options, but rather an abundance of faith. This message is solely for you to understand that heaven hasn't forgotten you, but was protecting you from the magnitude of what is being released into your life today. Pain has a cunning way of clouding our judgment, making us believe that resistance is synonymous with defeat. But pay close attention. The kingdom only labels something as lost if it hasn't yielded any lessons or growth. Those years you call empty have produced in you an authority that others will never attain. Don't retreat, because what you have nurtured in the darkness is what will sustain you in the light of your new provision. Imagine that each night of unanswered questions was actually a masterclass in blind trust. Heaven doesn't allow pain capriciously. It allows it to forge within you the capacity to manage the abundance of solutions and opportunities that are yet to come. Trust that your spiritual investment is about to yield its greatest dividends. That financial assistance and peace you sought aren't rewards for good behavior, but the natural result of years of sowing seeds in the Spirit. Write in the comments, I accept the wisdom of my process to seal this teaching in your heart. Have you ever wondered what would happen if today the floodgates were open to release what has been held back? That is the nature of the compensation that is being activated. It is not a slow trickle. It is a restoration that is coming to fill every corner of your life that was left dry during the waiting. Stay connected, because the depth of what is coming requires your mind to be aligned with this new truth. Have you realized that you not only survived, but you prevailed against what tried to destroy you? There's a world of difference between avoiding a trial and facing it head-on. Today, that formative period where your character was forged in fire has reached its expiration date. The door of hardship closes, opening the door to a blessing that isn't a stroke of luck, but the perfect alignment of your preparation and the timing of fate. It fills me with profound joy to tell you that your resilience has been the bridge to this new reality that embraces you today. I share this feeling of victory with you because I understand that your weariness was not in vain and that your integrity has been your strongest advocate before the throne of heaven. This message is solely for you to feel the relief of knowing that your provision is no longer a future promise, but present inheritance that belongs only to you. Pay close attention, because the restoration that is activated today is not a mere emotional band-aid to make you feel better. It is a legal restitution. In the court of heaven, God doesn't simply return what was taken from you. He compensates for what that resource should have become if time hadn't intervened. Don't move from here, because what you are about to understand about heavenly multiplication will change the way you view every loss. If you lost an opportunity years ago, heaven doesn't return that same old opportunity, but rather the multiplied and updated version that corresponds to your maturity today. Stay focused, because divine calculation is precise and overlooks no detail. Heaven is adding up the interest on every moment of peace that was stolen from you and every resource that couldn't gain momentum because of the blockage. Imagine that every seed that couldn't germinate in its time is an accumulating life in a celestial storehouse, waiting for this precise second to burst forth as a blessing upon your path. That provision, that help in the form of concrete solutions and sustenance, comes laden with the weight of years of waiting. Have you ever wondered what would have happened if that project or relationship had flourished without interference? That unfulfilled version of success is what the heavens are bringing down to your reality right now. It's not just about making up for lost time. It's about reclaiming the ground you should have already conquered. Trust that your momentum will now be unstoppable because you have the backing of a justice that no one on earth can appeal. Write in the comments, "I claim the interest of my blessings," and let that statement activate your spiritual atmosphere. Have you noticed that sometimes the blessing seems so great it even frightens you? That happens because heaven isn't just giving you back what you lost, but is also compensating for all the growth that loss hindered. Therefore, restoration won't be a slow and tedious process. It will be a sudden impact that defies all your human logic. The kingdom doesn't negotiate justice. It enforces it. And today it's correcting an imbalance that has plagued your lineage for decades. Write with conviction, "I receive my full restoration now." Walking beside you as a brother in this faith, I perceive that your mind sometimes tries to protect itself by hoping for the bare minimum to avoid further suffering. I include myself in this process of renewal with you because I know it's difficult to let go of the shield of survival after so many battles. But today I assure you that this message is solely for you to stop settling for crumbs. Heaven has decided that you will no longer be the one who merely survives, but the one who testifies to an abundance that erases the memory of any past lack. Pay close attention, because divine provision doesn't arrive as a timid trickle, but as an unstoppable tide designed to cleanse the scars of scarcity. Perhaps you feel an inner struggle right now, a voice telling you, "This is too good to be true." That resistance isn't a lack of faith. It's the desert training that taught you to lower your expectations so you wouldn't feel the sting of disappointment. Don't retreat, because today we're going to break that scarcity mindset together. You were strong in silence so as not to worry anyone. But in the kingdom, your voice was always a cry that is now being answered. Keep your attention here, because what God is doing is a fundamental change. The survival mindset that kept you safe among the desert dunes is the same one that could prevent you from entering your promised land today. It's not just about changing your surroundings or having a magical solution to your problems appear. It's about a transformation of your identity, that financial assistance, that support for your projects, and that peace in your home come with authority that requires you to stop thinking like a captive and start acting like an heir. I'm pausing here briefly because, as you know, maintaining this connection requires a lot of energy and dedication. If you feel today's message is resonating with you and you like to honor the value you've received, you can buy me a symbolic coffee through my Ko-Fi. It's a beautiful way to balance giving and receiving voluntarily, and it allows me to continue sharing these messages with you freely. I've left a direct link in the first pinned comment, and also here below in the video description. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your presence and support. Namaste. Have you ever wondered why you grew accustomed to managing pain with ever-dwindling hope? It was a defense mechanism. But today the heavens are asking you to expand your capacity to receive. The restoration is so profound that your old way of thinking cannot contain it. Trust that this divine movement is final, and that there is no turning back to the past. Write in the comments. I let go of survival. I embrace my heritage and feel the weight of the years fade away. Have you noticed that sometimes what scares us most isn't failure, but sudden success? That's because your inner sense of permission is programmed for scarcity. Today, heaven is retraining your expectations. It's not just about receiving a solution, but about feeling worthy of holding it. If your inner capacity is small, the blessing will overwhelm you. That's why, before you accelerate your outward steps, God is expanding you from within. Pay close attention, because expansion is always a step before acceleration. God isn't going to launch you at a speed you're not ready for. It's about who you are as you receive what you've been asking for. If you feel the walls of your mind expanding today, it's because the space for your new reality is already being created. Don't move from here, because what follows is a confirmation of your new spiritual level. That provision, that flow of answers you're waiting for, requires a solid container, your own renewed spirit. I want to tell you something with absolute clarity. This message isn't a passing emotion. It's a frequency adjustment. If you feel the noise in your head fading and a deep peace taking its place, it's because your spirit has recognized the truth of the decree. You are being trained to walk with the authority of one who knows they have the full support of the divine. Trust that this inner expansion is the guarantee that what is coming will be permanent, not temporary. Write in the comments, I expand for my provision, and let that vibration transform your atmosphere. Do you feel the pressure turning into preparation? That's the frequency shift we're talking about. You're not being punished with more waiting. You're being equipped for the magnitude of what has been signed in your favor. Stay alert, because when the heavens accelerate, there's no force on earth that can stop your progress. Have you noticed that when the truth reaches you, the outside noise simply fades away? That calm you feel now is proof that this message is fulfilling its exact purpose within you. We are not here to fill time, but to build a sanctuary where divine guidance can be heard without interference. Maintaining the space of clarity requires protection and an absolute focus on your spiritual well-being. Write firmly, I protect my peace and my truth. I'm taking a moment to speak to you from the heart about the importance of valuing what nourishes our soul. I include myself in this circle of gratitude with you because I know that when something transforms our perspective, a natural desire arises to honor that moment. This message is exclusively for you to feel that you have a safe place where your growth is a priority, far from the distractions of the world. Sometimes, we feel the urge to mark a turning point in our lives. Some choose to use tools like the super thank you see below, not as a simple donation, but as an act of spiritual alignment. It's a way of saying, this word has anchored something new within me. If you feel guided to do so, do it freely, knowing that this gesture directly helps these messages continue to reach those who, like you, are seeking a clear answer from heaven, purely and without interruption. Don't withdraw, because what we're about to explore regarding your capacity to choose is vital. Pay close attention, because here's a secret many overlook during their restoration. When heaven gives you back time, also gives you something even more valuable, confidence in your own decisions. Have you noticed how many times you've been paralyzed by the fear of making the same mistake again? That ends today. The constant doubt, that endless cycle of questions, will begin to fade, giving way to a serenity you've never experienced before. Write in the comments, I trust the guidance of my spirit. This newfound confidence you feel is not recklessness or pride. It is a result of having a heart aligned with divine provision. You will no longer need to seek external confirmation for every small step, because you will feel certain that your feet are being guided, that help and clarity you ask for are manifesting today in a clear mind that knows how to choose what is best for it. Declare with conviction, my steps are firm and sure, and feel the confusion leave your life. Have you noticed how the fear of failure has kept you paralyzed for years? That wasn't by chance. The delay you experienced trained you to distrust your own inner voice. But today, heavenly restoration is doing something extraordinary. It's giving you back your authority. You will no longer doubt your instincts, because the discernment you gained in the desert is now your most accurate compass. Pay close attention, because what's coming is a deluge of blessings. Heaven is redeeming your years through acceleration. What once took entire seasons to achieve will now happen in weeks or days. A single decision of yours will unlock multiple positive outcomes, and a simple conversation will change the course of your destiny. Don't hold back, because divine speed is about to be activated in your life. That provision you've been waiting for won't arrive alone. It will come accompanied by doors opening one after another, creating a domino effect of solutions and well-being. Keep your focus here, because restoration often disguises itself as small things at first. It might be an idea that crosses your mind, an unexpected invitation, or a chance encounter. Don't make the mistake of dismissing humble beginnings in this season of acceleration. What seems like a small seed today is actually the code for a massive harvest that heaven has decided to deliver to you. God is paying for every second of delay with an effectiveness that defies all human logic. Can you imagine looking back in a few months and wondering how everything changed so quickly? That will be your reality. It won't be chaos. It will be time redeemed, operating under a higher design. That financial assistance, that relief from your burdens, and that mental clarity you've been seeking are manifesting right now through these small signs that will soon become giant waves of provision. Declare in the comments with all your faith, I accept the acceleration of my blessings and prepare for the movement. Have you noticed that the greatest transformations often begin with the smallest act of obedience? Sometimes, heaven disguises monumental changes as simple tasks just to protect you from overwhelm and fear. That seed you hold in your hands today may seem insignificant, but the timeline God has allotted it is powerful. When time is redeemed, growth doesn't follow human rules. It happens with a rapidity that leaves the world in awe. Write with conviction, I say yes to my new season. I want to speak to you honestly about something few mention. Your restoration will shake up your social circle. I include myself in this warning because I know it hurts when those we love don't understand our growth. But today I understand that this process is solely so that you can walk lightly without burdens that aren't yours to carry. Your evolution is a sign that you've stopped being the one who always waits and have become the one who walks in your own destiny. Pay close attention to this. Not everyone will celebrate your restoration. There are people who are very comfortable with the delayed version of you, the version who always sacrificed more, who was always available because their own progress was blocked. Don't move from here, because what follows is key to protecting your peace. When provision and favor begin to manifest, the dynamics around you will change. Boundaries that didn't exist before will appear, and your silence will increase, not out of pride, but out of a deep trust that no longer needs to explain itself to anyone. Stay focused, because setting boundaries isn't arrogance, it's divine alignment. You're moving from adapting to scarcity to adapting to the abundance of purpose that has been released upon you. You're not changing to prove anything to others, but because the person you become no longer fits the molds of the past. That support, that clarity, and that newfound stability require you to nurture your environment with wisdom. Move when you feel that peace confirms your step, even if it doesn't make logical sense to others. Are you ready to let go of other people's expectations and embrace what heaven has designed for you? The coming acceleration demands that you release the burden of trying to please everyone. Trust that God is selecting the right people who will truly celebrate your harvest. Your time of being the perpetual sacrifice is over. Now it's time to be the steward of your own blessing. Write in the comments, I honor my growth and my limitations, and feel your spirit strengthen. Have you stopped to consider that your current transformation is merely a reflection of a larger movement in the heavenly realms? It's not simply that you are changing. It's that God is strategically repositioning you for what is about to manifest. This 20-fold restoration isn't limited to the external. It embraces your emotional world with astonishing tenderness. Write with faith, my soul rests in his peace. I know all too well what it's like to carry wounds that the hustle and bustle of life didn't allow you to heal, hiding them beneath layers of duties and urgent matters. I include myself in this process of relief with you because I understand that your heart has been operating in survival mode for far too long. This message is solely for you to feel how that burden dissolves without needing to relive the pain, allowing joy to return to your life naturally and effortlessly. Pay close attention, because the healing that heaven bestows upon you today isn't always a dramatic outburst. Often, it manifests as a profound calm, where before there was only constant tension. You'll begin to notice that rest no longer feels like a lack of responsibility, but rather a tool of your newfound authority. Don't withdraw, because the clarity you're receiving is the prelude to holistic stability. The exhaustion that once robbed you of your dreams is being replaced by renewed vigor, preparing you to manage the provision that is coming. Keep your attention here, because the restoration of your resources is also a reality in this heavenly decree. However, this provision will not arrive chaotically or recklessly, but with a divine order that guarantees that what you receive will remain and multiply in your hands. God is aligning opportunities for financial improvement and providential help, so that they arrive at the exact moment your heart is ready to govern them with wisdom. It is not chance. It is a compensation plan by heaven to balance the scales of your years of dedication. Can you feel the tension in your shoulders begin to ease at this promise of stability? You don't have to force the doors. Provision flows where there is order and peace. Trust that every area of your life, from your feelings to your livelihood, is being visited by a justice that overlooks no detail. Write in the comments, "I accept my healing and my provision," and let this affirmation seal your day today. Have you noticed that before, no matter how hard you tried, it felt like your resources had wings and slipped away without a trace? That period of constant escape is over. The restoration that heaven is activating in your life today comes with superior strategy. God is rebuilding your capacity to generate, manage, and above all, multiply every resource that comes into your hands. It will no longer be a struggle against the current, but a natural response to your newfound wisdom and spiritual alignment. Write with determination, "I walk in freedom and order." It fills me with peace to know that the anxiety you felt when checking your accounts or thinking about the future is being replaced by unwavering security. I share this feeling of relief because I know what it's like to spend sleepless nights burdened by obligations. And today I assure you that this message is solely for you to breathe deeply again. The provision you receive is not to feed your ego, but to buy your freedom and restore your ability to be a blessing to others. Pay close attention, because the true reward this season isn't just a number in an account, but the freedom that resource grants you. Freedom to choose your path, freedom to help those you love, and freedom to build a legacy without the knot of anxiety in your throat. Don't retreat, because the stability that's coming is meant to give you rest, not more worries. Money and resources will now respond to your voice because your heart is no longer attached to them, but aligned with the heavenly purpose that sustains you. Stay focused, because the strategic provision is the foundation of your new life. Heaven is closing the holes in your spiritual purse, so that every seed you sow and every income you receive will stay with you and bear fruit. This isn't a promise of empty wealth, but a promise of sufficiency and abundance for every good work. You are being equipped to be a steward of solutions, and the help you've been asking for has come with a clear instruction manual, so you'll never feel lack again. Can you imagine what your life will be like when the words debt or lack no longer dictate your decisions? That is the freedom being signed today. It's not an excess leading to disorder. It's a provision for peace. Trust that your ability to generate resources is being healed from the root. Write in the comments, "I receive my spiritual financial freedom," and feel the chains of stress break. Have you noticed how a small piece of bad news used to ruin your entire day? That's changing right now. One of the subtlest yet most powerful signs of your restoration is that your emotional reactions are shortening. What once robbed you of your peace for hours will now lose its power over you in a matter of minutes. It's not that you're becoming indifferent or insensitive. It's that heaven is restoring your inner stability. Write with confidence, "My peace is unshakable." It amazes me to see how God is not only taking care of your external circumstances, but is also healing your nervous system and your soul. I include myself in this observation because I know that emotional exhaustion is the hardest to overcome, and today I understand that this relief is solely so that you can enjoy your future without the weight of past trauma. You are being strengthened from within so that nothing that comes your way will be able to bring you down again. Pay close attention to this. Restoration isn't about striving harder, but about entering into deep agreement with what has already been decreed. You no longer need to chase the blessing, because what is yours by divine right is seeking you. Don't move from here, because this change of language is the switch for your reality. Stop speaking like someone who keeps begging for an answer. Stop rehearsing the scripted delay and approaching your future using the words of your past. If you keep saying someday, while heaven says today, you are slowing down your own reception. Stay focused, because your words shape your spiritual permission. Align your speech with the heavenly decree that declares a 20-fold recovery for every year of apparent loss. God speaks with absolute seriousness when he says the time of recompense has arrived. That provision, that help in every area, and that mental clarity you so desperately needed are waiting for you to stop seeing them as a distant possibility and start seeing them as an active inheritance. Do you dare to let go of the language of scarcity and embrace the authority of one who knows their heavenly account has been settled in their favor? Heaven does not lie, and its justice is exact. Trust that every word of faith you speak today is a seed of acceleration for your life. Declare in the comments with all your authority, I align myself today with my decree of restoration and feel how the atmosphere changes in your favor. Have you realized that heaven isn't interested in handing you mere crumbs or fragments of what once was? The time for someday or receiving piecemeal happiness is over. This restoration isn't about looking back to try and fix what's broken. It's about overcoming it completely. Your future won't look like a patched-up version of your old life, but a life fully restored. Right with Revelation, my future is a new work. I want you to understand profound difference. A repair will always remind you of the scar of the harm, but divine compensation brings with it an authority that erases the trace of pain. I share this sense of awe with you, because I know you're not looking for a Band-Aid for your wounds, but for a just response. This message is solely for you to recognize that God isn't trying to fix a mistake, but is honoring your capacity to have endured with a pure heart. Pay close attention, because this distinction is what will change your perspective on life. A repair says that something was broken and glued back together. Compensation, on the other hand, declares that something went wrong and the justice of the kingdom responded to tip the scales in your favor. God isn't simply fixing what went wrong in your past. He is rewarding what you managed to endure. Don't back down, because what's coming now is the recognition of your loyalty. You not only survived those trying years, but you did so while maintaining your integrity, and that is priceless in heaven. Keep your focus here, because the provision that is coming is a reward for your faithfulness in the darkness. That help, those solutions, and that new beginning you are experiencing are not a consolation prize. They are the result of a legal judgment in which you have been declared the victor. You have borne the burden with dignity, and now it is your turn to bear the reward with authority. Imagine that every moment you chose the right path, even when everything seemed to be going wrong, now becomes a foundation of a structure of blessing that no one can tear down. Can you feel the difference between being repaired and being compensated? It's the transition from victim to victor. You no longer walk as someone who has been beaten down by life, but as someone who has been supported by the Creator. Trust that your integrity has been the currency for this acceleration you now enjoy. Declare in the comments with all your faith, I am a testimony of divine justice, and prepare for what follows. Have you noticed how many people throw in the towel when things get tough, but you chose to stay and keep building? You didn't just get through those trying years. You did it with an integrity that heaven values more than gold. You maintained your faith and responsibility when the easiest thing would have been to give up and abandon everything. That's why what's coming back to you is nothing like what you lost. It far surpasses it, right with conviction. My reward outweighs my loss. Pay close attention, because this shift may feel disorienting at first. When time is redeemed by the heavens, old patterns break down, and the rhythms of life you once accepted no longer fit. You'll feel less tolerant of confusion, and no longer willing to stay where your growth is limited. Don't withdraw, because this discomfort isn't anxiety. It's your new spiritual alignment asserting itself. Restoration brings clarity, and clarity will always demand movement toward the new. Stay focused, because God isn't pressuring you. He's removing from your rhythm what no longer belongs to you. For years, circumstances dictated your steps, and urgency controlled your schedule. You live responding to the pressure of needs. But in this new season, authority returns to you. You will decide from a place of peace and choose based on wisdom, not fear scarcity. Write in the comments, I am taking control of my life. That provision you've been waiting for comes with something much greater, self-mastery and control over your destiny. You're not just receiving positive results or financial solutions. You're receiving the ability to be the architect of your reality under divine guidance. The help heaven sends you today is so you can walk with your head held high, knowing you're no longer a slave to urgent needs, but a steward of blessings. Declare with authority in the comments, I receive my clarity and my rule today, and feel how heavenly order is established in your home. Have you noticed that before? Every small step forward felt like an uphill battle, full of invisible obstacles? That constant friction that drained your strength has been removed by divine intervention. From now on, you will notice that opportunities begin to arise without that exhausting resistance. This doesn't mean you will stop taking action, but rather that your work will now be supported by favor. Favor is simply heaven aligning your years of preparation with the precise timing of your assignment. Write with confidence, I accept the favor that opens my doors. It fills me with awe to think of all the invisible training you received during those 40 years. Things no one could measure, but that God was recording. I share this feeling of anticipation because I know that the acceleration you're now experiencing is a result of that silent preparation. This message is solely for you to recognize that you are no longer the same person who started out in the desert. You are a version equipped to govern the abundance that is approaching. Pay close attention, because restoration doesn't ask you to erase your memory, but rather to stop living within your old wounds. The past was your teacher, but it is no longer your prison. The lessons of wisdom remain with you, but the limitations and fear have vanished. You will continue to be humble, but you will no longer shrink back or hide for safety. Don't retreat, because the clarity you are receiving is your greatest asset today. Heaven declares that your testing period is over, not only because the years have passed, but because the task that process was meant to accomplish within you is now complete. Stay alert and pay close attention to the details, because what's coming is not more waiting, but unstoppable progress. At first, you'll notice things moving in profound silence, but soon the evidence will be so overwhelming that it will leave no room for doubt. You won't have to wear yourself out explaining your progress to anyone. The results, the peace in your home, and the abundance in your hands will speak for themselves with an authority that no one can question. Restoration is no longer something that is going to happen. It's something that has already begun within you. If this video has resonated with your soul or brought you clarity today, I invite you to close this circle of gratitude. I've left a link to my Ko-Fi in the description and pinned comment. If you feel moved to support my journey and creation of this content, your seed of abundance is welcome and deeply appreciated. Thank you for helping me continue to expand this light. We have reached a turning point on this journey. If you feel your spirit has been renewed and that this message is the anchor you needed, I invite you to become an active part of this community. Subscribe so you don't walk alone in this season of acceleration. Share this message with someone who still feels trapped in their past and like it to seal this decree of justice in your life. Your interaction helps the light of restoration reach those who need it most. Today, I want you to look in a mirror and not see someone who wasted time, but someone who is prepared for greatness. Your greatest benefit in this restoration will not only be what you receive externally, but the unshakable peace of knowing that the Creator of time is on your side. You have moved from mere survival to dominion, and that is the greatest victory you could ever experience. Rest assured that your provision has been sealed, and that your future is no longer a patched-up version of your mistakes, but a glorious manifestation of divine justice designed exclusively for your well-being. Write one last affirmation of power in the comments. My restoration is complete and eternal. Amen.